Hello, everyone, and welcome to Astro Kara. I'm Kara, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Cancer new moon, which is happening for me the day that I'm recording it here, July 17th, 2023, in the United States. I have titled this Crisis in Action, Intolerance to Insecurity. So before we dig into why I chose that title, let's look at the archetype that we're talking about. The sun and the moon are both in the sign of Cancer. The archetype of Cancer is related to the moon and the fourth house of the zodiac wheel. The archetype of Cancer relates to the ego, the subjective self. And when I talk about ego, I'm not using that word as the stigmatized version of ego, because ego cannot be negated. It can only be redefined, because ultimately it is our own sense of subjective self, meaning how we see ourselves. And it's very deeply connected to our innermost emotional body, the emotions that are deep within ourselves that we connect to help us understand who we are. Cancer also relates to the mother or the mother figure, family of origin, the home, and your connection to your ancestry. So talking about family of origin and understanding that that's essentially where we begin to develop that sense of ego or our subjective self. I think it was in the movie Evan Almighty, where Morgan Freeman is playing God, the character of God, and he says at one point, "Do you think that when people pray for patience, I give them patience? Or do I give them opportunities to develop patience?" I think about that analogy when I think about resilience, emotional resiliency. And this is how I approach evolutionary astrology. When we are looking at any archetype in our birth chart, any placement, we see the opportunity for evolution, for growth, for change. It is where our soul has been, perhaps what we've been practicing, and now it's what we are continuing to work through, or maybe it's brand new and it's something that our soul is just beginning. But ultimately, we are here to have these experiences. And if we are to evolve through a particular series of experiences, most often we have to experience the adversity to get to the evolution. So when I talk about family of origin and how our conditioning has molded us and created this sense of ego self, we think about who we were as children, how we were as children, the experiences that we had. And even if we had happy, healthy home life, there were still, I would venture to say, experiences and opportunities where you had to face challenges and adversity, where you were faced with disempowerment and needed to figure out how to cope. So the idea of a coping mechanism is a way that we compartmentalize our feelings or our emotions that we are having about a particular thing that we are experiencing. If we cannot process everything that's happening at the time that it's happening, there's a potential for a fracture or a trauma signature to occur because we don't feel safe. We can develop these complexes in our behavior on how we respond when we are met with a condition or experience that creates a sense of insecurity or where we feel unsafe. Now, the reason I talk about this right now is because with this lunation, it is in a square to Chiron. Chiron is considered our wounded healer. So it's a key to the depth of the potential of the healing that occurs within us. But it also shows us where we are hypersensitive to rejection. Chiron in Aries currently is bringing up those emotions that are associated with times in our life when we have tried to show up as ourselves, where we have tried to take up space, and we have been pushed aside, marginalized, shut out, made to feel like a burden, made to feel unworthy. And so this is a deeply emotional time. And even though the new moon is happening today, these energies are going to be with us for this cycle. This is a time to really go within, to reconnect to that inner sense of self and determine if that is truly who you are. In order to do this, we have to understand what intolerance to insecurity means. And it's different for everyone. What I might be able to handle on an emotional level could be different than what you might be able to handle. Or you compared to your sibling, or a friend, or a spouse, or a child. Only you can determine where that threshold is for you, where your level of tolerance begins and ends. When you come to a point where you know you need to take action, you need to make some changes in your life because things cannot continue the way that they have been. There's still this sense of separation anxiety that comes in when you want to attempt to do something new. I like to use the analogy of disembarking from a ship. The ship is the familiar. It's the known. And even if it's not healthy, even if it's not really comfortable anymore, the comfort is in the known and the pattern of familiarity. So stepping out into the unknown can be deeply unsettling when you feel extremely displaced. And this is where the coping mechanisms come in. This is how we have learned, how you have learned to manage those uncomfortable emotions when they come up. One of the ways that I feel we are being supported with the current energies is how you can rewrite your narrative, rewriting the story that you have been told about your life, that you have also continued to tell yourself about how things are. Looking at what your perspective is, being curious about yourself in new ways, looking at how you can redefine what your self-worth is. Mercury, now in the sign of Leo, is in a first quarter square to Jupiter in Taurus. The first quarter square is that crisis in action. It's where are you now going to take action on the information that you have gathered over the last few months since the initial conjunction. The new phase conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter occurred in Aries back in March of this year. In the sign of Aries, it's telling us where we can begin something new around the areas of our left brain and right brain. How can we merge our logic with our intuition? How can we begin to see the world through a new perspective based on the knowledge that we now have? You don't have to define yourself any longer based on past perspectives or past patterns. The transit of Venus through Leo and her retrograde period, which is going to be starting this week, is all about looking at your own values and what makes you unique and special. And how can you now begin to act, again, that crisis in action, on how you value yourself now, how you align to your own sense of individuation. Venus is coming out of this first quarter square to Uranus and Taurus. It's the same crisis in action square. This energy is pushing you, pulling you, guiding you, showing you where this needs to happen. And it's giving you the boost of now is the time. Now is the time to spend some quality time with yourself, looking at and thinking about your own sense of value. How do you want to live your life based on past religious beliefs or family values or societal norms? Or do you have your own sense of the life that you want to create for yourself? There is support in helping to focus your mind. Mars in Virgo is approaching the opposition to Saturn retrograde in Pisces. I feel this as leaning into being sober-minded with a clear analysis to see things for the way they are, not for the way you may want them to be, the way you hope they would be, the way you wish they would be, to really just see things as they are. And as you begin to do that, you can make decisions based on your own discernment. Does it align to those values that you've been looking at and developing? Does it align with your own sense of individuation? Or is it something that you now need to release? We also have the nodal shift happening at this lunation. We are leaving the deep, dark South Node in Scorpio and moving into the airy Libra. Again, every archetype carries a shadow, and we must look at the shadow in order to evolve into the higher expression. And often we have to experience the shadow. What I believe the lunar nodes over the next year and a half are going to be showing us collectively and you individually is balancing what belongs to you versus the projections or mirrors of others. And the North Node in Aries is pointing us to show up as yourself, for yourself, in your most authentic being. But that comes with a lot of confrontation sometimes, especially within relationships. This new moon is also loosely conjunct the asteroid Juno, which is related to our intimate partnerships, how we offer forgiveness and trust and vulnerability within our personal, interpersonal, intimate relationships. And the Aries-Libra axis is our relating axis. It's when we show up in our own Aries, what is the feedback we are receiving from the mirror of the other? And we are the Libra to everyone else's Aries, especially now as we are confronting these emotional complexes that we have developed. We are trying to understand our own sense of safety and security, and we must look at our past conditioning. It could be a volatile time for us within relationships. So it is important, as you understand your own needs, to also create healthy boundaries. And this is what I believe the lunar nodes are going to be showing you over the next year and a half. It just feels very present and very palpable right now. Lastly, I want to talk about the opposition to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, because ultimately Capricorn has to do with our conditioning, our structure. I call it the container of self. The Cancer-Capricorn axis is all about that. What is the container that holds your sense of self, your ego structure, and where are you ready to make changes either with the structure itself or with the things that you put inside, your emotions, those coping mechanisms? Where are you ready to make those changes? Pluto is asking you to look again at that container. Where does it need to be reshaped? What needs to be eliminated? What can no longer go with you into your future authenticity? Just as a reminder or a little bit of encouragement, anytime you decide to take on this noble work of reevaluating your past and looking at a new way to move into your future, the challenges come, the pain can come. And so it's very important to remember to practice self-compassion. Well, what does that look like? It looks like when you make a mistake, perceived or real, and you start to beat yourself up, like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I'm so stupid. I'll never learn. Lean into the compassion and grace of the reframe. Yes, I messed up. I'm going to hold myself accountable to that mistake, but I also recognize that I'm human, that humans make mistakes, and this doesn't have to define me. I can learn and practice to do better. And I'd like to take us into a little meditation to help us support the inner child. So as you begin to find a comfortable position, either lying down or sitting, maybe gently close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever you're most comfortable with. Begin inhaling slowly through your nose and then exhale through your nose. Those deep breaths in and out through your nose are allowing the vagus nerve to relax. It's helping your body to release any tension or stress. Relax your shoulders. Open your jaw and relax the muscles. As you continue to breathe deeply, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a beautiful forest. You can feel the soft earth beneath your feet and hear the gentle rustling of the leaves in the breeze. Take a moment to connect with this energy of the forest, sensing its ancient wisdom and healing power. Set your intention to connect with your inner child. Visualize a small, vulnerable version of yourself standing before you. See this child as clearly as you can. Notice their appearance, their expression, and how they might be feeling. Approach the child with a warm and loving smile. Sit beside them and offer them your hand. As they take your hand, feel a deep connection and trust forming between you. Take a moment to communicate to your inner child, reassuring them that you are here to listen and protect them. Invite them to join you on a journey through the forest. Let your inner child know that you are here to support and help heal any wounds that still may linger within. Together, begin walking deeper into the forest. As you journey, notice the vibrant colors, the scent of the trees, and the soothing sounds of nature. The forest becomes a safe and sacred space for you and your inner child to explore, express, and heal. As you continue walking, you come across a gentle stream flowing in the middle of the forest. The water sparkles with the energy of joy and innocence. Guide your inner child to the edge of the stream and invite them to dip their feet in the water. Watch as their face lights up with delight, feeling the healing energy in the stream wash over them, cleansing away any pain or sadness. Now walk along the stream together, following its meandering path. And as you walk, be open to any memories, emotions, or insights that arise. Try not to judge and trust the process, allowing your inner child to guide you. When you eventually reach a clearing in the forest, notice that it's bathed in golden, soft light. In the center of the clearing, there is a large, ancient tree. This tree symbolizes the strength and wisdom that resides within you. As you walk with your child to the base of the tree, lean against its sturdy trunk. As you do, encourage your child to share their feelings, their fears, or their desires with the tree. Assure them that the tree is a wise and loving listener, capable of holding their pain and transforming it into healing energy. As your inner child shares, listen attentively and offer space for comfort and understanding. Let them know that they are deeply loved and remind them that you are here to protect and nurture them. Encourage them to release any pain, anger, or sadness that they've been carrying, allowing it to flow out of their body and into the roots of the tree. And as you observe your inner child releasing their burdens, see as the tree absorbs the energy and transforms it into pure light and love. Feel this healing energy that radiates from the tree and envelops both you and your inner child in a warm, comforting embrace. Take a moment to bask in this healing light, allowing it to fill every cell of your being. Feel the transformation taking place within you and within your child. As wounds are mended and love and compassion replace any lingering pain. Thank the tree for its support and healing that it has provided. Bid farewell to the tree, the clearing, the stream, and the forest. But know that you can return to this sacred space whenever you need to reconnect to the safety that is here. When you are ready, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring awareness to this protective bubble that still envelops you. Remember that you have the power to safeguard and cherish your inner child, to continue to foster that deep sense of self-love and wholeness within you. May you always find solace and strength in the loving connection within. Until next time, take care of you.